Okay, what I prefer to do when I'm setting up emails in an automation like this is, although I have these drafts completed, these are not the actual emails. I'll just show you. You go into one here. All right, so it's basically empty. That's just a bit of gubbins there. There's nothing important. What I will do is at some point I'll delete all this stuff here. And I'll add the email that I've actually written that's intended to go there. So basically, what I'm saying is that these are just placeholders. And I do it this way because what I've learned is that any piece of copy, it's generally never finished anyway. It's always a work in progress. So you want the absolute finished article, as when I say article, I mean, I'm not being literal there, because it's an email, obviously. But you want, the most up-to-date copy. Now, I come back to this in a week's time. I may well have tweaked it. There's a very, very good chance that that's the case. So when I'm setting up the automation, I can set everything up and I can test it all. And then, that might take a week, depending on whatever else is going on. And at that point, I'll come in, I'll check the emails that I've written, and then I'll put them in here. And, I'll show you that either later in this video or on another video. But I just wanted to explain, that, as I say, these at the moment, they're just placeholders. What I can show you here as well is how I put these placeholders in place. So just follow this through logically. We're asking, has this purchase of 1.4.2 been made? Yes, it has, so we don't want to send them that email there. And then we want to ask them, has the next product been purchased? So that's 1.5.2. What 1.6 actually is, just to complicate things slightly, 1.6 actually represents a package whereby someone buys 1.4.2 and 1.5.2 together. But that's by the by, just ignore that for now. Just assume we're just on this 1.5.2, so we're asking, has this purchase been made? If it has, then again we bypass it, we go on to the next email. But if it hasn't been purchased, then we want to send them the next email. So we set up a placeholder here in this no branch. We go to send email. So in this section here, it says select email to send. So any emails that you've already set up within this particular automation will appear here. For all intents and purposes, these are just the drafts, they're blanks. We'll just take the last one. All right, but we're not actually sending that one. We want to create it as a separate entity. So here we go to copy and edit on there. So basically it just makes a copy of that. Then we can edit it and give this its own name. Okay, so then we just go to next here. And all we're doing here is just give it a new name. So we'll take off that copy part there. Okay, so that's the new name. Okay, so the difference between the subject and the message name, this is our name, this is our reference, this is what we see, that's that there. Okay, so that is what the contact sees, and this is our reference, this is what we see. So the receiver doesn't see that. Okay, that's just, think of it as just being the name of our file. Okay, so then we can have all these references and things in there, and we know what those mean. Or at least I do. All right, save and exit there. So you don't need to worry about too many details on that at the moment. All you need to know is that it exists now as a separate entity, a separate placeholder. So following through logically, we're pretty much more or less repeating what's gone on before. Let's assume this email there has been sent, the tag has been added, so we know that's been sent, so hopefully it won't be sent again. And then we've got to wait here. So we're basically asking the automation to wait until that email has been either opened or clicked. Now, again, you could have just asking if it's been opened, but if you also ask if it's been clicked, and now someone may open it and not click on something, and that may register fine, no problem. But if someone has clicked on it, obviously they can't click on something unless they've opened it. So that's an extra security thing. From what I'm led to believe, mostly, and in my experience so far, but that, it's just testing, within my own sort of environment, the opening of an email does register fine, no problem. It's not necessarily always the case, because it depends on the subscriber and the user and the way their email preferences are set up. For example, if someone have their email settings so images don't show up, for example, then it may not track. So what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is that we don't have any control over a user's email settings, and if they have their email settings not to track in some way, or not to show images, it may not register as opened. Whereas having the click, that should register anyway. So there's no 100% safeguard, but having both those things gives us a double chance. Now the 10 minutes there, what I do is when I'm setting things up, I just have things set up in a series of 5 minutes. Each 5 minutes represents 1 day. And that's obviously because I don't want to be waiting around for 2 days to see if this automation works. So, if it's 3 days, then I'll set that for 15 minutes. So when everything's been tested, I know it all works, I'll come back to this and I'll basically change that to 2 days. But at the moment, we'll leave it there for 10 minutes. Okay. If it has been opened, then basically what we're asking here is, again, similar to up here when we're asking if something had been downloaded or not, if a PDF had been downloaded. Here what we're dealing with is an actual purchase. Again, if a purchase is made, then on the purchase form we get to add that tag there. If that tag is present, it tells us that a purchase has been made. And additionally here, if the answer to this question, has it been opened or clicked, is no, then we have the opportunity to send a resend there. So you don't have to do that, but that's what I do. What we do with the resends is we want to ask firstly if we have permission. So we assume permission initially. Every contact when they join a mailing list has the tag resends-yes added. Okay. But on every resend, there is an option to opt out of the resends. And if they do, then we remove this resend-yes tag and we replace it with a resend-no tag. Okay. More options, more safeguards. Assuming the resend-yes is there, then we can go ahead and again we ask if the tag is present. The tag which is asking, has this email been sent? So again, just as before, there's the tag there which gets added after this is sent, and it just says E.1.7.1.1 resent. Okay, and here we're asking if that tag is present. So it's not present, then we send the email, and if it is present, we bypass it. There's nothing to bypass it to at the moment, but what I would do is I would bypass it to the next question there. So that's the resends. Let's have a look what happens if a purchase has been made. So if that purchase has been made for that particular product, which is 1.4.2, then we go on to ask another question, which is, well, has this purchase been made, which is 1.5.2? So throughout this branch, basically, this will repeat for however many products that you might have, because you want to know, basically, if they've purchased 1.4.2, we don't want to send them this email. This email is relative to 1.4.2. So then we ask them if they've purchased the next product, which is 1.5.2. If they have, again, we will bypass that next email. But if they haven't, then we'll send them, the next email. So I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to fill this in so you can see it in action.